What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Travelers beware. A major Taiwanese pilots union says it will go on strike over the busy Lunar New Year holidays. The union representing pilots with EVA Air says the strike will go ahead unless their demands for a pay raise and better working conditions are met. The airline and union failed to agree on a solution earlier this week. The union says EVA has not raised pay in over a decade and has been illegally recruiting foreign pilots. EVA rejects both claims. The Lunar New Year is the largest annual holiday in Taiwan and sees some of the highest passenger volumes of the year. Taiwan's main opposition party is trying to push through a U-turn on the country's nuclear energy policy, and that's meeting a backlash from environmentalists. Sally Jensen has the story.
Weeks after Taiwan's national elections, an old controversy is once again fueling political division, as the largest opposition party makes a bid to change the country's course on nuclear energy. The Kuomintang or KMT will have a slight majority in the legislature come May. The party wants to do away with a 5-year application window for starting up the country's shuttered nuclear reactors. The party's former presidential candidate and current mayor of New Taipei City, Hou Youyi, says restarting reactors should be based on safety standards, not time considerations.
我们希望大家都有共识，我们都希望能够在核安安全为底下，不断的逐步的推动，让整个全国的供电
The Nuclear Safety Commission requires operators to apply for a new license 5 years before a reactor's service life reaches 40 years. Currently, Taiwan has 4 nuclear power plants. 2 have been decommissioned, 1 was never completed, and 1 remains running, providing 6% of the country's electricity. Taiwan imports most of its energy, and the KMT wants to raise the country's energy security and self-sufficiency by using more nuclear power. They say this would also help Taiwan meet international green energy commitments. That would be an about-turn from the government's current policy. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party plans to end nuclear power in the country for good from next year. It cites safety concerns over nuclear waste management as one reason for the 5-year application review period, which they say would ensure more robust nuclear safety checks.
缩短审查的时间是不是会造成这个在安全问题上面的漏洞跟放水？国民党都应该要回答，而不是像现在这种不负责任的态度去回避。
While the issue is already creating friction in the legislature, some academics say having a fixed review period to extend the service life of reactors isn't needed.
国外也有2年就完成审查的案例啊，就看你管制机关到底需要多长的时间。这5年只是一个数字上面的一个限制啊，并不是真的技术上面的一个限制。
The issue of nuclear power remains highly sensitive among the public, and with the ruling party no longer holding the legislative majority, the outlook for Taiwan's most controversial form of energy will continue to fuel debate. Chris Ma and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
The Pacific island nation of Tuvalu heads to the polls on Friday. It's one of Taiwan's few remaining diplomatic allies. And after Tuvalu's neighbor Nauru cut ties with Taiwan in favor of China, something Tuvalu could follow suit. For more, TaiwanPlus spoke to Graham Smith, a senior fellow from the Department of Pacific Affairs at Australia National University.
What are the issues at stake in Tuvalu's elections?
Like most elections, they'll be fought largely on domestic issues, and you have 16 MPs, any of whom in theory could end up as the leader of the country after the election. So, yeah, in a country as small as Tuvalu, a lot of the stuff is, the politics is very personal, and a lot of it, of course, is extremely local. There's a bunch of issues, but of course the issue of who to recognise, China or Taiwan, has also become a bit of an issue in this election.
What are the chances that Tuvalu will switch diplomatic recognition to Beijing post-elections?
The chances seem to be fairly reasonable. It's hard to get a hold on it because we don't know exactly who will emerge as the leader. The most likely scenario for a change would be if a pro-China MP gets elected and he decides to push for that. And obviously, if he finds a majority of MPs, that's more than 8 out of the 16 in support of his position, then it will happen. It's very, very hard to say because we don't know exactly who's going to be in the parliament and who will come out as leader. Whenever Taiwan's foreign ministry comes out and says statements for no reason about we strongly value our relationship with Tuvalu, then that's often a good indicator that Taiwan is a little bit nervous about it as well.
Tuvalu is obviously a small country and doesn't punch above its weight on the world stage. So how important is it to Taiwan as an ally?
It still has as many UN votes as Australia does. So in many ways, it punches well above its weight at the United Nations. For Taiwan, I mean, the remaining number of allies are important in the sense that they have some people who will stand up for their interests or speak out for their interests at regional fora. The Pacific used to be a bit of a bastion for Taiwan. We're now down to 3 allies, possibly 2 after the election. It's important in many ways, more in symbolic terms, because obviously the countries left in Taiwan's column are increasingly the smallest and least influential, as your answer implies.
That was Graham Smith from Australian National University talking to Louis Watt. A U.S. congressional delegation visiting Taiwan is affirming its support for the country.
The main messages that we are bringing here today, and again, this is very simple, that the support of the United States for Taiwan is firm, it's real, and it is 100% bipartisan.
The Congressional Taiwan Caucus is the first U.S. delegation to visit the country since national elections earlier this month. They met with President Tsai Ing-wen, as well as President-elect Lai Ching-te and Vice President-elect Bi King-hsiao, who will take office in May. A drop in temperatures in Taiwan isn't stopping local gamers from enjoying their passion. Video game buffs were lining up overnight to see what the 2024 Taipei Game Show had on offer. Bryn Thomas takes a look.
Local gamers are spawning near Taipei's Nangang Exhibition Center, hoping to see Taiwan's video game industry level up. They're here to check out this year's Taipei Game Show. Many of them camped outside the venue overnight, all in the hope of scoring some elite loot and checking out what's on offer.
游戏很多都是广告好玩，可是实际不怎么样。实际玩上去好玩的话，就可以提升购买的意愿。他们家的游戏里面动作一直都在不断的进步，然后呈现都越来越好。那我希望决训推出之后，他们也能越变越强。
Over 350,000 visitors are expected at this year's event to check out the 300-odd games on display. The 2024 show boasts 377 exhibitors from 26 countries, but it's games from Taiwan that are in the spotlight. Some developers here are using themes drawn from Taiwanese folklore to create immersive environments they hope will attract local players.
在游戏中，我们可以看到下海城隍庙，也可以看到大雅镇澜宫，然后我们可以在那里面做一些互动的行为，然后里面有一些很多的装饰品啊，或者说神像是可以让玩家去做收集的动作。
And while many Taiwanese developers are just happy to share their culture through games, the government is making a main quest out of developing the country's independent gaming industry.
希望特别强化台湾的游戏产业，特别是我们的独立游戏。所以从过去我们就有编列预算来补助我们这个独立游戏的研发跟奖励。那过去我们大概1年大概有1000万的经费来补助它。那今年开始，我们还特别增加了这个所谓的研发补助金，最高一个案子可以来到250万。
With that kind of loot, many at the 2024 Taipei Game Show hope Taiwan's video game industry will soon gain greater global recognition and beat the boss to reach the next level. Ryan Wu and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out this northern Vietnamese village decked out in incense ahead of Lunar New Year. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.